as Toastmasters, we've all come to this club for mostly the reasons such as improving your communication skills and leadership skills and so on and so forth. Anyone here who is here for not any of those skills, please raise your hand. Okay. Oh, not for not that. Okay, you join me in that group. Because when I joined Toastmasters, I joined because I wanted more friends. Many of my friends left the country. It was a bad economic time at that time, and I lost a lot of friends. So I came to this Art of Speaking Club with the single motive of making a lot of friends. But along with that, not knowing that this is also about communication skills and leadership skills, those are the skills that I also acquired. So I got not only what I wanted, I got even more than that, especially from Art of Speaking. Therefore, Mr. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, and future Toastmasters, today I think it's time that I start giving back for having got so many benefits from here. How do I give back? As Fred mentioned, the High Performance Leadership Project is something that every Toastmaster has to do as a part of your Advanced Leadership Silver Award. So for that, I have to select a project. What project do I select? Back in 2009, 2010, around that time, the person who just left the room, Kumar Kolagandi, he prepared several slides that visually represent the officer roles in a typical Toastmaster club. So those slides were in the back of my head for the last 5 years. And then combine that with the fact that today there is absolutely no training material in any of the Toastmasters manuals or education modules or what have you to train the club officers to work as a team using any process-oriented approach. These two factors inspired me to say that, so, okay, we are now going to create a new educational module for Toastmasters so that the rest of the clubs, not only Art of Speaking, but also the rest of the clubs in the entire world can start benefiting from that. So this particular Advanced Leadership Project and the HPL project, the way it works is you have two teams. One is a guidance committee team, and then an action committee team, and I fall somewhere in the middle. On the guidance committee team, we have the district governor from Maryland, Washington, D.C. area. And then I have the TLI dean, and also Paul Shah. How many of you are familiar with Paul Shah? He's from New Jersey, and he's also on the guidance committee. And on the action committee team, I have Kumar, and then I have another lady member from Maryland, from the Maryland club that I belong. So we all work together, we created this new education module. About to submit it back to TI, but here came the catch. One of the guidance committee members said, have you tried delivering this somewhere else? I think you should try that. And by the way, you shouldn't be the one doing it. You have to request another Toastmasters to do it, to present this education module, to get some feedback in terms of the quality of the content and areas for improvement, and especially how long it's going to take to deliver this module. So here we are trying to do that, and again the question came, where do I start doing this trial run? As we all know, charity begins at home. Art of Speaking is not just my home club. I feel this is like my mother club. And I thought, hey, this is the best place to start this trial run of this new education module, of this greatest project that we are embarking upon. So here we are, I have Kumar who will be presenting this education module. Please help me welcome Kumar.
Is there anyone in this room never heard the word called process? So we all know what is a process. Anyone can help me to define what is a process?
You have some input, we do some process to get some output.
Absolutely. Yes,
It's like there's a system or a strategy, step by step.
Correct, exactly. A step-by-step process. And agenda?
A logical way to achieve the desired result given an input.
Brilliant, excellent. Yes, Jay.
Define objectives and have a step-by-step procedure to execute objective and
Thank you. So if you look at all these definitions, a process is a methodical way to achieve a goal. From a club perspective, what is our goal? From the members, we have a goal. We want to be great speakers. We want to be great leaders. And from a club perspective, we want to get the DCP goal, right? And for officers, what is the goal? You want to run a successful club. I've been a member in this club since 2006. And in 2006, I still remember, even though we were qualified for all 10 DCP goals, we didn't have 20 members at the time. So we could not apply for a DCP goal. 2006 July, or 2006 June. That really created a lot of thinking processes. What is the best way to manage a club, right? From an officer's perspective. So there is a process-oriented approach. Now, how do we make this process-oriented approach more impactful and more useful for the officers to remember all these different processes? The only way to do that is to create and add visual thinking to these processes. If you're wondering what is visual thinking, let's just do a 20-second exercise. Close your eyes. It'll be safe, don't worry. Close your eyes and follow my instructions. And when you hear my instruction, raise your hand if it is yes, and don't raise your hand if it is a no. Las Vegas. Raise your hand if you see a casino with a slot machine, or raise your hand if you're watching a show. Perfect. Apple. Thanks to Ryan, how many saw a red color ready-to-eat apple or Apple Mac or Apple iPhone? A Great Wall of China. Are you able to visualize you're walking on Great Wall of China? Excellent. Now you can open your eyes. What we just did in this 20-second exercise, we just proved that we all are visual thinkers. Our brain is the fastest supercomputer. And the visual images are 17,000 times faster than reading text and remembering text. 17,000 times. So we all are able to remember the pictures, right? We got a slot machine, tang tang ka-chong, and then we saw Great Wall of China. And anything, that if the human brain can see it, it can remember it. So now imagine the power of combining the process-oriented approach and combining the visual thinking and visualizations to these processes. We want to really help all club officers to achieve the DCP goals. And thanks to Surya's excitement, you pass the buck to him.
Okay.
Surya's excitement, we really started working on this for the last 5 months. We went through a number of iterations, and we are not really prescribing an approach. We are describing processes step by step. In running the meetings, for example, we all are here. For us to be here, there is so much work happened behind the screens, thanks to all the officers, right? Now, the officers, you have 7 different officers in the club, and each officer has a role, and the process to work smoothly, you need to have clear roles and responsibilities, and you need to have roles defined for each action in the process, and you need to have a definitive goal for every process. And Surya explained to me a story from his college days. One of his professors explained to him during the process training course, you got to manage your process well. If you don't manage your processes, the processes will start managing you. So, in a club situation, you really need to make sure the processes work in a without any penalties. I can't even pronounce that. So this is, so we are recommending a new training program to Toastmasters International. Hey, Toastmasters International, you have a beautiful speaking program for public speaking. You have a beautiful program for leadership skills. What about management? Is there any program to teach officers how to manage a club successfully? So this is our proposed training materials that we are going to give it to Toastmasters, and once they review and approve, this material is going to go to 600,000 clubs worldwide. Oh, we don't get any money from that, but we get a lot of satisfaction. Oh, money, money, money. Where is money? Okay. Huh?
Sweeter than honey.
Sweeter than honey, yes. And no money, no honey.
More ways than one.
Yeah. So, this is a very lengthy presentation. I'm not going to bore you with all these finer details. The key points we want to explain to officers. This is supposed to be a training material for new officers, and coincidentally, we have 7 brand new officers in this club, and this is going to be very useful. And maybe we can share a copy after this meeting. And we really want your feedback, once you go through. But I'm not going to take a lot of your time. Just going to introduce some of the concepts. The 2 key essential skills for a club officer: leadership and management. Right? You need to manage properly. And there are activities. Let me just go to this. And we talked about what is a process and why process. We need processes to make sure our club runs successfully. And then at the end of the year, we get the 10 DCP goals. So we are President Distinguished Club. And we get more ribbons like this. We get more ribbons. And to get more ribbons, you have to have a structured plan. It's not like playing chess, but you really need to make sure all the players know what they're doing, when they're doing, what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to do. So the entire presentation talks about these 4 aspects. What, why, when, how. Again, these processes, they're not really prescribing that, hey, you have to do this. And as a management consultant, I go to many companies, and when I talk to these different teams, the definition of process changes. Everyone has their own mindset. They describe in a particular way. But the gist of their description is, this is how we do stuff here. This is how we do. So wherever you go, you talk to people, they say, oh, this is how we do here, right? So in this club, we can say this is how things are done here, but if you go to a different club, based on the culture, based on a number of variables, this is how we do changes. There are a number of influencing factors for processes, but in this case, in this context, we are capturing 4. Structure, humans, information, and technology. I'm sorry. The structure is, Toastmasters International is quite organized in a very British colonial structure. We have, but this presentation is at the club level and the member level. And we have opportunities to extend this whole concept up to the district and region levels. That's a long way to go. In the human, technology, and information, people are the pillars for this club. No people, we don't have meetings, right? And the information is also very critical for a successful meeting. Successful meetings means successful clubs, right? Last 6-7 years, I've been, whenever I'm here, I see at least 25 faces. You know, that's their successful club. I've seen some clubs, you have 7-8 people in the club. And then there's a whole set of technology tools that are there to run a club successfully. And these tools we just listed here, but for a club to run, you can have a number of tools. And if you're wondering what are the DCP goals, by June 30th, a club meets 5 goals we call distinguished clubs, 7 goals select distinguished, and 9 president distinguished. And to meet the goals, I'm going to talk about 2 processes today, even though we have 15, 16 processes in our deck. I don't want to bore you with a lot of stuff. To have a successful meeting here, it all starts with a Toastmaster or Vice President of Education sending an email to the members asking them to register for speeches. And Vice President of Education, he compiles the preliminary agenda, distributes to the members. And Toastmaster of the day or Vice President of Education, depending on how it works in the clubs, they can finalize the agenda and they distribute the agenda and the meeting happens. There are key concepts we define for every process. I think this is our recipe for success. We highlighted, I don't know if you can read this. We highlighted certain aspects about the structure, human, information, technology, and then what DCP goals these processes are going to apply. So we kind of spun through this whole club management and added additional intelligence. So it becomes very easy to understand. And with this visualization, we really think it's going to be very useful. And officers can remember their roles, the responsibilities, what's supposed to be done, when it's supposed to happen. Any questions? Yes?
So you're saying right now there is no training for officers?
No, officers training you have, but you have a siloed training. When you go to officers training, they call, hey, all presidents come here, and all secretaries come here, right? There is no training on integrated approach. In these processes, you have Vice President of Education having some actions, you have President having some actions, you have Treasurer having some actions. There is no integrated process mapping for a club management. That was the biggest gap that we saw. Great question, thank you. If no,